May we have roll call, please?
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Gomez? Here. Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. Negretti? Mayor Garcia?
Here.
Mr. Negretti absent.
The invocation will be delivered by Father Patrick Travers of Holy Innocent Catholic Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Police Chief Rick Dessinger. So please stand.
Let us bow our heads and pray. As always, it is a blessing to be here at the City Council meeting, to participate in the freedom to meet and assemble within our government. So I thank you, Lord, on behalf of all who are gathered here this evening. We pray for our mayor and for the city officials, in particular this council who participated and affected by our recent elections. We pray for their work in guiding our community. Most importantly, help them remain aware of the welfare and needs of our city, and while promoting peace, order and justice, and the wisdom to govern with a proper decorum and discernment of goodwill. Grant them the ability to work together in harmony, and give each of them a joy in the tasks set before them, and in so doing, attaining a personal peace in their lives that we're all in need of. We pray for the communities and towns that the fires destroyed in California, and in so doing, have a greater appreciation of our city and all we have to be thankful for this Thanksgiving season. We bow in gratitude of your greatness, love, and mercy for us, and we ask all this in the name of your most cherished Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please face the flag, hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
This evening we do have a very special presentation. So, Councilmember Jim Kennedy, would you like to go down and you will be receiving some recognition and certificates. I believe they're here from Senator Scott Will office. I believe Rebecca Tennyson is here. Is she here? No? Assemblyman Jay Obernolte, Chris Nunez.
Councilmember Gomez, could you possibly come back up so we have a quorum still?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Nunez, and it's my great pleasure to be here on behalf of our State Assemblyman, Mr. Jay Obernolte. Every now and then we have the fantastic opportunity of honoring somebody and recognizing their outstanding works, their outstanding achievement. Mr. Kennedy has been a stakeholder here in the city for a long time, but really has, as his wife put it, more than committed to doing his part here in our community. We want to thank you for the terms of service that you've performed here on the City Council. Again, your elected posts here before, and congratulate you on the retirement that you're finally getting to. I understand you have some big plans coming up and some vacations, which we're very glad that you're going to be taking advantage of, but we hope that we can still rely on you as a pillar here in the community. So thank you so much for your service. Congratulations and best wishes on behalf of not only the Assemblyman, but the entire California State Legislature. And we present you with this resolution from the state. Congratulations.
Thank you. have Regina Witherspoon Bell.
Good evening. How special is this? It is indeed my pleasure to bring you this resolution, which I am not going to read all of it, although you have earned every word of it. But it's my pleasure and privilege to be here tonight on behalf of the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, who is also our first district supervisor, Robert Lovingood. And I want to say to you that the supervisor asked if I would share with you our gratefulness in the way that you have led. You have led with dignity, you have led with integrity, you have led ethically, and we greatly appreciate those footsteps that you have taken and the imprints that you have made for those to come behind that can follow. We also want to thank you for your service to this council, but your service prior to that to several councils and commissions and boards. You have created quite a legacy, and that legacy stands as a sterling example of great leadership here in the High Desert. And so for that, the supervisor says thank you, and we really appreciate the privilege of having the opportunity to work with you over these past 2 terms. Congratulations. Hope you have nothing but joy from this moment on as you go back home to be with your beautiful wife and share just nothing but sheer joy. So congratulations to you.
Okay, enough of these pictures.
Now we have Rebecca Tennyson with Senator Scott Wilkes' office.
Good to see you.
Well, good evening. Thank you, Mayor Garcia, Victorville City Council, citizens of Victorville, and special guests tonight. It is a pleasure to join you, and I have the distinct privilege to present this certificate of recognition on behalf of our state senator, Scott Wilk, and the California State Senate, to be presented to Jim Kennedy in honor and recognition as you nobly retire from the Victorville City Council, commemorated on this 20th day of November 2018. Whereas,
She's going to read them. No, we don't have to read them. There's a nice whereas, and that's great.
they know me. Don't worry, there's only one whereas. Whereas, due to the integrity and professionalism which he fulfilled his duties, Jim Kennedy has been an invaluable asset to the city of Victorville and the citizens he serves. Thank you, Jim, for bestowing honorable leadership to your constituents and throughout the state of California. Throughout California during November 2010 through November 2018. I was wondering how many years. Senator Wilk extends his sincerest best wishes for your every future success. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you. One more.
Don't worry, just one more. Congratulations.
Thank you. Did you get all this wrong? Yeah, Santa?
Don't run away. Don't run away.
This one?
Do I have the city's?
We could just say thanks and goodbye.
Oh my goodness, it's heavy. I didn't realize how weakling I am. Okay, this is presented to Council Member Jim Kennedy in appreciation of 8 years of service to the city of Victorville from 2010 through 2018. And Jim, I don't even know where to begin thanking you for everything that you have done for all the community, the entire high desert, not just Victorville. The expertise that you brought to our city, the void that you are leaving cannot be filled by anyone unless they have what you have. And my gosh, it's outstanding. Because of you, we have maintained a balanced budget. You have brought so much to our city that I don't even have the words to thank you. All I can say is thank you so much for giving your time, your energy, and I hope that you and Jimmy will enjoy your retirement. You're not retiring, but away from this anyhow. And no stress, and just enjoy. And because the two of you have something so special in your marriage that I mean couples have, and I'm very touched with it too. Thank you.
I'd like to step in just for 2 seconds as we put something together as a staff as well. But I'm Keith Messler, I'm the city manager, and I've had the opportunity to work with Jim for almost 20 years in some capacity, one capacity or the other. And certainly the most memorable have been the last 8 years with you here as a council person. And certainly have appreciated your leadership, your wisdom, and everything that you've offered in terms of expertise. But I had actually taken the opportunity to talk with a number of staff walking through the organization and asked for one word that best describes you. And the most common response I got from the staff was thoughtful. And I agreed with that because over the course of you serving this council and all of your actions, all of your deliberations, I think that's one of the most fairest things we got from you was that you were thoughtful in everything that you did. And that matters, not only to us as staff, but certainly to the residents of our community. So one thing that we wanted to do, just to show our appreciation as the staff, we want you to think about us every time that you see this. Not many know that we have our own sign shop in our Public Works Engineering Department. So one of the things that I asked the Public Works sign crew to do is put together a street sign for you. And this is from the staff. And I want you every time you see it to think of it as a thank you from the staff of this organization. Congratulations.
Jim, Congressman Cook's representative is here also. Christopher Porter.
So I think Wase was going to come tonight, but he couldn't make it. So I'm not going to read all of this.
Please don't.
But I'm going to read probably about half of it.
It's the
okay.
House of Representatives.
So-
We don't really. It could go on for days.
In addition to serving on the city council as mayor pro tem, and all the boards that he served on, and serving as a delegate as well, during his time on the council, Jim has been a passionate advocate for Victorville and its residents. He supported key infrastructure projects, including the Squally-La Mesa interchange, which provided a key transit corridor to help alleviate traffic congestion. Jim also fought to keep Victorville residents safe and consistently voted to add additional sheriff's deputies and firefighters to the city budget. I thank Councilmember Jim Kennedy for his leadership and dedication to public service on behalf of Victorville residents. Jim has been a true model of civility and decorum on the Victorville City Council, and he will be sorely missed. So on behalf of Congressman Cook, I want to present you with this congressional insert, this plaque, and want to wish you the best in all your endeavors.
Now you can do this.
Should I correct
Yes, now you can.
Actually, I never have been mayor or mayor pro tem, but I appreciate the thought. I just would like to take a couple of minutes and talk about this city, not me, but we. I'd like to talk about the group up here and some who are no longer here, Ryan McEachran, Mike Rothschild, Rudy Cabriales, Angela Baez, and there's quite a list. We've worked together over the last 8 years. I'd like to tell you where we were, what we've done, and where we are today. When I came on the council in 2010, we were recovering from the worst financial crisis our country had experienced since the Great Depression. The general fund was running at about a $3.5 million deficit. Our revenues had dropped from about $60 million in the general fund in 2006 to $45 million in 2009. In 3 years, we dropped 25% of our revenues, and we had to figure out what to do. Property taxes had dropped, and SCLA was in default on all of their redevelopment bonds. City staff was cut by about a third and went to 36-hour work weeks. But by 2013, as a result of diligence work by the staff and this council, who was committed to living within our means, we balanced the general fund budget in 2013. In the last year, we paid off the last of our interfund loans. A hiring freeze has ended. The city of Victorville financially is in solid and stable condition. The Mall of Victor Valley, in 2012, we signed an agreement, Ryan had his hand in this, with Macerich to work on renovating the Victor Valley Mall. We were in a declining sales tax situation with the mall, and as a result of that renovation, sales tax have risen. We've attracted Macy's and Dick's Sporting Goods. Penny's expanded their place there. Shopping at the mall today is a different experience than it was in 2012. Okay? Staff helped me with this, so I've got some visuals up on the screen. Keep your eye there. The Industrial Wastewater Treatment Plant. This is not a well-known project for the city of Victorville by the public, but we built this plant in 2010. It allowed us to attract the Dr. Pepper Snapple bottling plant. Without it, we would never have gotten them here. It has also served other industrial development at the base. This plant produces the reclaimed water that we sell every single day to the High Desert Power Project. It's been a tremendous source of revenues. Southern California Logistics Airport. Gosh, what a success story this has been. I got to get to my notes. Get to the right page. Dr. Pepper Snapple, United Furniture, Arden Companies, Newell Brands, M&M Mars. M&M Mars was thinking of leaving. They moved from Foxborough to the base and maintained those jobs in Victorville. Plastipack. We have almost 3.5 million square feet of manufacturing, distribution, and warehousing at SCLA. It's been a tremendous success story. And Boeing has put a 100,000 square foot hangar that they are occupying, and they're using it for flight testing and aircraft assembly. Boeing's been a tremendous tenant for us at the airport. What a story. Road improvements at long last. The La Mesa Nisqually interchange. Ryan, raise your hand. Big hand in that. And my friend Jim Cox had something to say about that happening. Built it in 2013. Bear Valley Road construction between Amethyst and Balsam. What a project that's been to clean up that intersection at the freeway. 9.5 miles of roadway pavement that we've done on Amethyst, Nisqually, and La Mesa. And Village Drive, the mother of all road rehabilitation projects. Village Drive, and it will finish sometime next year, am I right, Keith? This year. This year? Next month. Amazing. Water and sewer projects. This has always been close to my heart. We have replaced 9 miles of small steel water lines, primarily in Old Town, but in other older parts of Victorville. 9 miles. We have another 4.5 miles currently under construction. We've replaced 7,000 old water laterals. Those are the lines that come from the main to your meter. They were PVC. We've replaced them in copper and substantially reduced, if not eliminated, leakage. We've replaced 35,000 old water meters. We're replacing and relining more than 3 miles of old sewer lines. Believe me, if they fail, that's a mess none of us want to deal with. Okay? And we have a rate plan in place to make sure we have the funds we need for those replacements in the future. That was a critical decision we've made in the last year. Public safety, our #1 job, no doubt about that. After all the budget cuts and the reductions in 2010 and 11, this council has steadily added police positions over the last 8 years. Today, we have the largest police force in the city's history. Not a well-known fact, but a true statement. City staff continues to work with the HOPE program, the Sheriff's HOPE program, in our efforts to combat homelessness in Victorville. And in 2018, we launched the rebirth of our Victorville Fire Department. It was a long, difficult process, but it's in place. We're going to save almost $4 million in the next 5 years. We'll have 64 firefighters compared to 54 on our county fire contract. We've invested in vehicles, medic squads, and new equipment, known as fire trucks when I was a kid. Local control and efficiency was our goal, and I think we have achieved that. Fire will be under this council's control in the future. I'm also very, very happy to say that as I leave this council, I can tell you that it is in the city is in the hands of a world-class executive management team. Keith Metzler, Sophie Smith, George Harris. What a pleasure it has been working with those 3 people over this last year. And I think everybody on the council would agree with that. So to my fellow council members, I want to say thank you for working together, for all of us working together. To the citizens of Victorville, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to serve and be part of this great experiment, this great experience. Exactly an experiment. Then I want to make a few personal comments about some people that have been very important to me. My good friend Terry Caldwell, who first suggested to me that I run for the council, and I told him I wasn't in the least bit interested in doing it. And my good friend Jim Cox, who absolutely convinced me that I should run for the council. My dear friend Larry Huber, who first introduced me to public service in Victorville by asking me to apply for an open position on the Water District Board, and then suffered as my campaign chairman in 2 election campaigns. My dear friend and planning commissioner for 8 years, Paula Porter. Andre D. Bortnowski, city attorney, and a great friend, and I don't know how I could have done my job properly without him and his advice and counsel every step of the way. Finally, the person who gets most of the credit for my lucky breaks and good fortune in my life. The person who keeps me sane and stable, supports me, and when I need it, protects me from myself. Just about every good thing that's happened in the second half of my life is because she agreed to share that life with me. My words are not good enough to say everything that's in my heart. Best friend I've ever had, my beautiful wife, Jeannie. I have nothing more to say.
Continue with this. We have one more special presentation, and that will be for the recognition to International We Love You Foundation. I assume you're Ernesto Zuniga?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. On behalf of the Victorville City Council, I would like to present you with this certificate of recognition for your foundation's efforts to clean up and beautify the city of Victorville. On Sunday, June 10th, 2018, approximately 177 We Love You Foundation volunteers cleaned up a 5 to 7 acre area near the intersection of Seneca and Mesa Linda, filling 2 roll-off dumpsters with over 3 tons of trash and debris. This is the largest single group that has ever volunteered to do a cleanup event in Victorville. We thank you for doing such an amazing job. Thank you and everyone that volunteered. Thank you. And this certificate reads, Certificate of Recognition presented to We Love You Foundation. The City of Victorville commends the We Love You Foundation and its dedicated volunteers for the commitment to improving our community. Your good deeds have helped our city and served as an example for others to follow. The City of Victorville expresses its sincere appreciation and gratitude for your service to the community. Best wishes in all your future endeavors. Signed, Gloria Garcia, Mayor of the City of Victorville. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, yes, thank you so much and good evening. I wanted to share just a couple of words. I promise it won't be too long. I would like to briefly introduce who we are once again. We're the World Mission Society Church of God. The church was established in 1964 by the Second Coming Christ Ensemble. Every group, company, organization has a foundation. The foundation of the Church of God is love. The reality of that love is God the Mother. Without a mother, there is no life. In the same way, without our spiritual mother, there is no spiritual life. Why was the church established? It was established to share love. This is how the We Love You Foundation was born. In order to fulfill the words love God and love your neighbor, not only with words but also with action, the Church of God is actively volunteering in cleanup campaigns, disaster response, blood drives, food drives, soft blanket drives. By putting God's word into practice, the Church of God has grown to have over 8,000 churches worldwide, and the church is currently working together also with the UN to share love, hope, help, courage, and support not only to our cities, our country, but the whole world, all 7 billion people. It is an honor to receive this award on behalf of Samia Jah. She is a chairwoman who leads the Church of God with the love of mother, because she is the mother. Lastly, we would like to thank Mayor Gloria Garcia, all the members of the council, also all of the citizens and special guests for allowing the We Love You Foundation to work together with the city of Victorville. We are also locally located here in Victorville, and we are looking forward to share the love of mother through its volunteer services. Before we finish, all members of the We Love You Foundation would also like to share a few parting words. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We love you! We love you! We love you!
Ready? Smile.
Okay, now we will be starting. I will ask our city clerk to present agenda to council and any revisions to the agenda.
The City Council of the City of Victorville welcomes the public's participation in tonight's meeting. Persons who wish to address the council on a specific item or any item that does not appear on the agenda are requested to complete one of the white speaker cards located in the council chambers lobby and give it to the city clerk prior to the meeting. The mayor will call upon each individual who has submitted a speaker card. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, state law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. The council may receive testimony and set the matter to a subsequent meeting. Comments made during the public hearings, written communications, or public comment sections of the agenda are to be limited to 3 minutes per speaker or less, as deemed necessary by the mayor. Communications are to be addressed directly to the city council. Individuals, comments to staff or members of the audience are not permitted. Any person or group that interferes with the conduct of the city council meeting by willfully interrupting and or disrupting the meeting is subject to removal. A peace officer may be requested to assist with removal should any person or group fail to comply with an order of removal by the council. Any person or group who resists removal by a peace officer is subject to arrest and prosecution pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.9, Penal Code Section 403. Thank you for your cooperation. All documents to be considered for approval at this meeting are before the council.
Thank you. We will begin with appeal hearings, and we had an item A1, but that has been withdrawn, so there's nothing for that one there. So now we move on to public hearings, and we will start with item B1. A public hearing to hear arguments for and against a general plan amendment to update the Victorville Old Town specific plan. Madam Clerk, with your recommendation.
That the city council approve mitigated negative declaration, adopt resolution number 18-093, approving the general plan amendment, adopt adopt ordinance number 2384 approving the zone change, and adopt ordinance number 2385 approving the specific plan amendment.
Thank you. At this time, do we have, council members, do you have any questions of staff? Jim? No.
I do, I have.
Okay.
In the downtown plan, referred to additional parking, converting private parking to public parking. Also talk about, I believe, it kind of hints at opening.
Can somebody turn off their phone there, please?
If you would notice, someone is trying to turn off their phone, please.
The indication of establishing parking on 7th Street, it seems to me, if you establish parking, it's going to restrict the 4 lanes pursuit. And in searching for alternate routes, it's kind of, it may occur, it's not positive. If it does occur, it doesn't seem to be a suggested alternate route for modeling. Is that correct?
Yes, so part of the plan and the circulation plan, and I had a quick PowerPoint, and I can go over more of the changes to 7th Street and the traffic study, how it was analyzed to allow for the reduction of 1 lane in each direction on 7th Street, allow for on-street parking, while also allowing for additional development, increased density in the area. So it was analyzed. That's why it's taken us 2 years to bring this plan before you. Full environmental analysis was done, focusing primarily on the traffic issues. Can that area handle additional development, and can it handle the reduction of lanes on 7th Street? And the findings that we found is correct, that we can.
There's also statements in regard to the current parking structure or otherwise. Is there contemplated an improvement zone for a parking structure part of this plan?
Long-term goals, as it starts developing further and there's a need for parking, yes. But day one, no, we're not in any position to pursue a parking structure.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, so if you have a pen available, you can jot down the notes, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the questions that I have, and then hope that you will be answering them. So for item B1, if you look on page 4, and the timer is off right now, so I don't know what's going on, so you make sure the timer is a lot of time. So the short-term road diet, it says on 7th and 8th Street. I'm not sure what that refers to. Tell me how the modification of the side streets will be alleviated with the congestion, or how will it facilitate the traffic flow? If you look on chapter 7, when will the relocation of the railroad crossing be able to take effect from 6th to 7th Street? What will it look like? And can you reference a page? For chapter 9, there's a long-term priority for 7+ years. Do you have a list and a page to refer to? So I'd like to know what we're looking for 7+ years that could be eternal. And in 1995, it was 173 acres. And now in the 21st century, it's over 400 acres. What areas did Old Town acquire in that allotted time? And please explain their differences. Whose vision was implemented in Old Town in this plan? And what are the areas zoned for currently lounges? Do we have lounges that are going to be allowed? I heard they're banned. For bars, how would this new plan affect current bar owners? And are there recipients of other types of businesses, such as property owners, that can develop? And what's the transition center, and how are we going to implement that if we have a lawsuit?
Mayor, if I might, and I believe the presentation Scott has for you, though it's going to be short and brief, I think it does answer many of the questions that Councilmember Gomez has asked, but to the extent that they don't, we have taken those questions down, and perhaps you can answer that at the end.
So yeah, as City Manager Keith Messler said, I'll have a quick presentation. I'm not going to go into complete detail on everything, but I can answer the questions. Hopefully I can answer them during the presentation, but if afterwards you have questions, I'll be free to answer those. So first off, I wanted to just go through a quick background, the history of this specific plan. So in 1995, the first specific plan was adopted. It's somewhat dated now, needs revisions. It does not do a good job of guiding the future growth of that area or address how to revitalize the area. So through this presentation, I hope you'll understand how the tools that are in this plan are geared towards spurring future growth and revitalization of that area. In 2016, that's when the City Council gave direction after a strategic planning session to move forward with a specific plan. Since then, staff has been working and had 3 public workshops with the Planning Commission. This has been conducted down in Old Town. We've also conducted numerous stakeholder meetings and communications with property owners, school districts, Caltrans, residents, and other organizations in the area. We've also had our final Planning Commission hearing in October. I'm glad to state that the Planning Commission recommends approval of the plan that's before you tonight. To give you an overview of what a specific plan is, it is the zoning for the underlying area within the plan. It does replace the conventional zoning. It gives more guidance and specific standards for that area as it develops and revitalizes. For the noticing that we've done for this, the property owners within the plan and also the property owners within 300 feet of the plan have been notified twice via mail. We've also compiled a distribution list of residents that have come to these meetings, and we've also been communicating through email and notifying them of upcoming meetings. And we've also posted the document online. To give you an overview of this specific plan, I want to focus on 5 main takeaways that you can pull from to just give you a general understanding of what the plan is geared for and what it should achieve. One of the main changes to the plan is the scope of the specific plan area. We've included the margins around the specific plan, and I'll get into detail on that, but it's increased substantially. We've also increased the land use density. We've introduced changes to 7th Street. We're emphasizing Route 66 and Old Town's history. And we're also providing an implementation path forward. First off, the specific plan area. One of our first objectives with the workshops that we've conducted was, what is Old Town? What should it include? As you can see on the left there, the specific plan area, the existing one spanned mainly from Forest Street down to D Street. The revised plan before you tonight includes the area south down to Mojave, and it also expands across the railroad tracks, includes East Street all the way to the Mojave River and a portion of Stoddard Wells Road. The reason for some of the jagged edges to the plan is that that's how it follows the property lines in those areas. Increasing density. One of the things we were thinking of when developing this plan is, how do you encourage revitalization? How do you build a better community? One of the things is increasing the density of the amount of rooftops in the area to support the commercial. So you could see here our land use plan on the right-hand side, and some of the residential components and the amount of units per acre. The main area, the central area of the plan is our mixed-use retail area along 7th Street. For vertical mixed use, which has commercial on the bottom and residents above, a developer could come in and propose something up to 35 units per acre. one of the main discussion points, and we received a lot of feedback from the residents on this. The feedback we received was we need to bring back on-street parking. People are driving too fast through here. It's becoming a commuter travel way. It's not safe for pedestrians. So part of this plan is sets the groundwork for bringing forward new public improvements to 7th Street, which would include on-street parking, parallel parking. There would be a center turn lane and 1 lane in each direction. This would span mainly from D Street to Forest Street. At the intersections, to increase pedestrian safety, the intersections will be choked further with bulb outs. As you can imagine where the parking is right now, it would be a pedestrian refuge that minimizes the path that they have to travel to get across the street. So the areas where you see parking there at an intersection, there would be bulb outs that have a raised 6-inch curb where there's more pedestrian space that's free of traffic. A large part of the plan and this development standards focuses on the history of Old Town. We want to maintain the character and preserve the history. So through development standards, through design guidelines, the plan focuses on emphasizing that Route 66 from architecture from turn of the century to that mid-century architecture that you'd see for Route 66. Also through development standards, even though it does allow up to 35 units per acre in some areas, there is standards as far as the massing and how tall these buildings can be. As you can see in this diagram here, it would go up to 3 stories maximum. So it would still keep the character of what was previously there. Also, there's programs, and I'll discuss that in the implementation phase, but we would encourage walking tours, wayfinding signage, and rehabilitation funding, and that's included in the implementation plan. Also, historic preservation. Our current booklet that we have a list of points of interest in the city. What it would do is take those points of interest, historic points of interest, and provide some guidance for what will happen when there's changes and modifications to those buildings. It also will provide guidance for future designations of historic properties. With property owner consent, we would be establishing a more robust list of these historic properties and guiding their preservation. And then lastly, the plan provides an implementation plan. Unlike the current specific plan, this gives us a roadmap, an action plan, if you will, of what staff will focus on as we move forward with the task to revitalize Old Town. Councilmember Gomez asked the question of the long-term goal. This is all stipulated in the implementation plan. We do go over priorities. What is our short-term priorities? What is our mid-term priorities and long-term? Long-term is over 7 years. She mentioned the crossing. The plan contemplates relocating the 6th Street crossing over the BNSF rail to 7th Street. It would improve circulation and not require us to put in another signal on 6th and D Street. That is part of the plan. That is a long-term goal. And it identifies funding sources. So we have a menu, if you will, of potential funding sources for these improvements as we move forward. And we also designate the responsible entities, whether that's staff or organizations within the city. We have responsible parties that would move forward with that. Just to give you a snapshot of some of the short-term goals that we're working on, lighting improvements in Old Town, 7th Street improvements, as I discussed, with bringing back on-street parking and the pedestrian bulb outs. We're also looking at funding sources. So currently, CDBG funding we have reserved to bring forward facade improvement programs to the area. We also have in the plan discussing bringing forward task force groups to help push the revitalization forward. There's associations for Old Town. those are all listed in the implementation plan. So I'd like to say that this does lay the ground rules. It does lay the foundation for the future growth of Old Town, and I would like to say this was a collective approach from staff. We collaborated very well with bringing this before you, and we're available if you have any questions.
Not to jab you, but you said you're available for questions. However, every time I ask for questions to be done, the city manager has said per the municipal code in his discretion that I'm not allowed to ask staff any questions, even though the municipal code states that city council has that exception. So I thank you for your comment, but I want to make sure I put it in the record.
And to the extent you do have questions, you can ask me or submit them in our customer comments.
As a point of order, I've not met with you in terms of the Braintree project. We have not met, and I've already asked for your full year's calendar to make sure I'm accommodating yours, and so far hasn't happened.
As a point of order, Ms. Gomez, you are
That was my
completely out
point
of
of order,
order.
I was able to speak, thank you very much.
Please continue. I'm sorry for the interruption.
At this point, I'm available if you have any questions.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
Yeah, the one question that wasn't addressed at the moment was the lounges and the bars. We do have currently a couple of owners, maybe perhaps one, perhaps in the audience, and I know is very concerned about his business. So I don't know how that's going to
Yeah.
function.
So right now, the plan does allow for bars as accessory to a restaurant. It also does allow for microbreweries, but as far as at this point, any nightclubs or straight bars, it does not permit those.
So what did you say, potpourris?
Microbreweries,
Micro.
those are conditionally permitted in the plan.
So nightclubs are not allowed, but you said
Your time is up.
bars with restaurant. Right?
Correct, yes. If through the alcohol beverage control,
That's 5 minutes.
they,
All right, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
thank you.
At this time, I open the public hearing, and I do have some cards. I will call out the names here. The first card that I have is Robert Arbizu, and then after Robert will be Christine Quick.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Robert Arbizu, a member of ROOT. I'm here tonight in support of the Old Town Specific Plan. As ROOT, our first task was to meet and survey the community. What are their concerns? Well, safety. We feel, ROOT and the residents of Old Town, by adopting the specific plan, it will help in addressing the safety issues expressed by the residents, like the lack of lighting in the area, the neighborhood homes and commercial buildings that are vacant and boarded up, which are havens for the homeless and wrongdoers. It produces trash accumulation, defecation, poor health, and fire concerns and fire hazards. Another safety issue, speeding traffic on 7th between Forest and D Street. We believe with the reinstallment of parallel parking, it will help slow the flow of traffic, which will make it safer for the residents and also will help businesses attract customers. We know there's concern throughout the city, but by placing Old Town as a priority, I feel that it would be expressing the commitment to a beautiful city. Thank you.
Thank you. Christine Quick, and after Christine, Richard Matias.
Hello, I'm Christine Quick, resident of Old Town and a member of Revive Our Old Town. Thank you. I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration. of your new Old Town specific plan. I think it will do wonders for your city. It will make it a safer place for all. I look forward to the adding of new lights. I look forward to better parking, and I look forward to slowing traffic. I think this will help to improve things greatly, and I appreciate your time and consideration, and I hope that you will vote for the Old Town specific plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Richard, and then after Richard is Brian, and I'm not sure of the last name.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Matthias. I'm an owner of Rousey 6 Billiards and I'm a proud member of Roots. I'm here to speak to you about the specific plan. I'm for it because of a number of reasons, mostly safety. It's going to slow down traffic. Lighting is going to deter crime. There's no reason that downtown Victorville has been neglected for so long. Please, I believe you guys will do the right thing. Have a good night.
Thank you. Brian, and then after Brian, Jennifer, Mary.
Good evening, Councilman, and good evening, Mayor. My name is Brian Knightson. I'm part of the Youth Advisory Board with the Fan Spot. I originally came here to address about the issue of the lack of lighting in downtown Victorville. And, well, I wanted to say thank you for approving the budget for Old Town, but I urge you, and we urge you, to approve the specific plan so we can get lighting and ensure the safety of our residents. And so me, my associates, and the advocates and the family assistance program can see change and improvement for Old Town. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jennifer, and after Jennifer, Erica Montes.
Good evening, everyone, Mayor and council members. I'm Jennifer Neri, a resident of Old Town Victorville and a member of ROOT since November of 2015. I was one of the residents who first spoke before council asking for you all to pay attention to and not forget about Old Town Victorville. It has nearly 3 years since we first introduced ourselves. Since ROOT and the city of Victorville have established an excellent partnership with one another, and we appreciate this. We also want to thank the city and city staff for working with us and the residents of Old Town by bringing your workshops to our area and allowing us to help shape the plan for the Old Town Victorville. We just ask that you continue to keep us involved when establishing associations in regards to Old Town. We as ROOT are striving for a safer Old Town for residents, businesses, and visitors. We believe the adoption of the specific plan will help guide the city in the right directions towards a safer Old Town. Thank you.
Thank you. Erica Montes, and then after Erica, Carla Portillo.
Good evening, my name is Erica and I am a member of the Fan Spot, the youth drop-in center that opened in my neighborhood. I want to thank you for waiting to invest in my neighborhood. We want to see more safe places to help out after school and have fun. Thank you for helping us because together we can make a safer community.
Thank you. Carla Portillo, and then Cecilia Olivera will follow.
Good evening, my name is Carla Portillo. I'm asking you to pass the specific plan one step forward towards getting our new lights in Old Town. I want to I want more lights by my house on Forest Avenue so there can be less accidents. I just want it to be a safer neighborhood for people. Thank you.
Dr. Cecilia Ruth Cordova.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Cecilia and I am an Old Town resident. For the last 3 years, I have been really involved in my neighborhood. I have attended neighborhood-led forums and city-led workshops. I have participated in neighborhood cleanups and I have led a monthly fundraiser event to raise money for our Old Town community mural. I do this because I care about my neighborhood, and even though we sometimes don't hear the best things about our neighborhood, I know there are a lot of people that, like me, care. This is why I'm excited to see the city adopt this new plan and commit to working with us to continue to make our neighborhood what we want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruth, and after Ruth, Jose, no last name.
Madam Mayor, E1, please. Correction.
I'm sorry?
E1.
It says B1.
I know, sorry, Mayor.
Oh, you'd rather change it to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, not a problem. Jose?
Buenas tardes. Disculpe, no hablo mucho inglés.
Just a second, we don't have a phone.
I'm going to be his translator, so he's allotted 6 minutes.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches. Estoy aquí porque me llegó una carta en donde se me explica, bueno, está en inglés y no le entiendo mucho.
Hi, I'm here this evening and I received a letter in English and I'm not understanding why it's not in my language.
Sobre que 400 acres del Old Town, no sé qué van a hacer. Le pregunté a mi vecino.
I'm absolutely clueless as to what this 400 acres is. I had to actually go to my neighbors and see what this was all about.
A él también le llegó la carta y me dijo que lo que él le habían comentado es que piensan tirar muchas casas y edificios en esta parte del Old Town.
His understanding of this letter was something about doing away with residential, commercial properties, things of that nature.
Y bueno, pues estoy aquí para informarme de qué va a pasar. También le pregunté a otro vecino y me dijo que sí, que incluso ya aprobaron. Mi preocupación es que dice, me estaba diciendo el otro vecino que sí, ya aprobaron y van a tirar las casas y te van a dar lo que ellos quieren por tu casa, por tu terreno. Entonces, eso es lo que, pues me preocupa un poquito eso, porque, bueno, pues, si tiro mi casa y me van a dar lo que no lo justo, pues es, yo estoy pensando que sería que tendría que compensarme con otra casa donde yo pueda vivir en otro lugar. Eso es lo que, la información que yo quisiera saber.
So I'm here to gather more information about what's happening with this old town. And I talked to another neighbor, and the neighbor told me that basically I'm going to be left without a home, I'm going to be given scraps, my home's going to be appraised at pennies, and I'm not going to have anywhere to live. So I want to make sure that my property value, I'm rewarded accordingly, and this really worries me, and it's to a certain regard very frustrating. So I'm here to look for more options, more answers, and more responses, and this is something that I'm very upset at the moment. You know, I can't think about how to even fathom about this information.
Sí, eso es todo. Gracias.
That's all my comment. Thank you.
Gracias.
Mr. Attorney, I don't know how we're going to handle this, but we do not have a form.
You have a form.
Okay, those were the only cards that I had. So at at this time, I close the public hearing. So, do we have a motion?
I was gonna say something. I don't know. Oh wait, sorry, my bad.
I believe that gentleman's public comment, so I think we're good to go. Consideration of a motion for this item, and the city clerk will have to read the title of the ordinance, assuming there's a motion to that effect.
I'll move the adoption, I'll move it specifically for discussion at this time, because I have some questions of the attorney in regard to the actions that the city council may take. We have to have a discussion. I don't know if I can make I'll make a motion. If I make a motion for approval, can we still have the same discussion and then
Yes,
change the motion?
typically if you have a motion and you get a second on the motion, then there can be further discussion regarding that motion.
In that case, I'll make a motion for the adoption of this specific plan as recommended by staff.
Second. That would then require the city clerk to read the ordinances, because I assume your motion would also then include the waiving of the full reading of the ordinances, so.
Now, questions that I have. I feel for the gentleman who was just here, if you get a notice from the city, it seems like to me, go to the city and ask questions. We have a large number of Hispanic speaking people here that can answer those questions. I'm not sure why anyone would go to a neighbor and allow them to scare you without going and finding out and waiting until the hearing to try to get the answers to the questions. I'm not sure what the questions are. Some neighbor has told you about taking the property, and that has nothing to do with this plan. I'd really like to ask him, somebody to interpret, why didn't he come to the city if he got the notice from the city? And the city would have provided an interpreter and he'd gotten his questions answered. To do nothing but to listen to the neighbor and then come to tonight to try to get the questions, is, in my opinion, defies logic.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, in that regard, staff, if the gentleman is still willing to come to City Hall, will still extend an opportunity to meet with the resident and have a translator available so that we can interpret what is in the letter and answer any questions that you may have.
Can I explain this to the gentleman? Señor, ¿alguien de la ciudad va a hablar con usted? ¿Le van a dar un intérprete? No aquí, pero tiene que ir a la ciudad. Pero alguien va a hablar con usted. No hay necesidad que esté asustado.
Or can you translate what you just said?
What I said to him was that someone from the city would be contacting him, and he will be able to get his answers to his questions, and there's no need for him to be afraid. The city's willing to talk to him.
A question for staff. Is there anything in a city plan that forces anything to happen? Or is this essentially a planning document defining the direction we think we want to go? I'm not going to make that as a statement, I'm asking this question.
The answer to that question is yes, that's in fact what this document is. It's a planning document. It serves as guidance for all land use going forward, and it helps protect development. When development does occur, that everything to occur thereafter happens in an orderly way.
And as a point of order, our 2 minutes for council to be able to speak was over, and I'd like to make sure that's on the record.
According to what I have understood in the interpretation, his fear was taking away value, leaving him homeless, taking the property. None of those things occur. And while I think that he still has questions that could be answered by staff, and should be answered by staff, there's no reason to hold it up, and therefore call for question.
So I know we also have a comment as a point of order.
I have a motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. I'm going to read the ordinance before questions and comments.
Ordinance number 2384, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victorville adopting the zone change portion of case number PLAN 18-00046, a change in zone to reclassify approximately 428 acres of property from existing specific plan, conservancy and floodplain, public and civic, single-family residential, minimum building site, half acre, single-family residential, multifamily residential, and C1 neighborhood retail service, C2 general commercial, and M1 light industrial to specific plan. Ordinance 2385, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victorville adopting a specific plan amendment portion of case number PLAN 18-00046, an update and expansion to the Victorville Old Town specific plan. Is there any further questions or comments?
So as a point of order, I'd like to express and put on the record that we have specific ways of asking and questioning, so an error the city clerk has allowed and implied that we can ask questions. However, this portion is not for questions, but for comments. So I do have a comment. I'm going to say this in Spanish first. Desafortunadamente, señor José, usted tuvo alguien que estaba hablando ahorita en inglés diciendo aproximadamente que fue un entendimiento malo que usted recibió acerca de su vecino y que usted se va a proveer a una persona que hable con usted el idioma para que usted entienda y sepa cuáles son sus derechos y pueda agarrar las frustraciones y tirarlas a un lado. So what I told this gentleman is, unfortunately, he was being spoken in a language that he was not understanding in English while Mr. Cox spoke. However, Cox did say that he would be provided with a translator that would throw his frustrations basically out the door, and the interpreter would be able to clarify any misnomers or anything that would not be clarified to him. And for my addition of comment, just for the root individuals that are here, this is not about the street lighting. The street lighting was already approved. Some of this specific plan doesn't have to do with that. We already approved that section of it. Also with safety, in the 90s we had security. I don't see anything in a specific plan that talks about security. So I wanted to make sure there's some clarity in that term, so perhaps we can add something like that in the future.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti absent.
Now we move on to consent calendar. And consent calendar items C1 through C7 can be approved with one motion unless there is an item that needs to be approved for discussion.
I move approval of the consent calendar.
I'm going to be pulling items C1, C2, C6, and with one motion I'd like to do with one motion C3, C4, C5, and C7.
I'm going to second the motion to approve those that have not been contested or need to be pulled. Madam Clerk, you're going to have to contest the vote.
Motion by Ms. Gomez, seconded by Mr. Cox for items C3, C4, and C7.
And include C5.
C5.
So for item C1, talking about money. Who handles it? How is it administered? Who spends this revenue? When did Venus originate? I'm assuming it was in 2006. And those bonds, how are they up to date in cost or in what we have to spend? And specifically, what are the items up for collateral? What year and under what council member was this correction done? And briefly contextualize the data results, the interpretation for council and its audience in terms of cost, efficiency, and cost analysis.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, C1 is your standard quarterly report for VMUS, which is the Victorville Municipal Utility. And what C1 is actually showing you is the operating results, the sale of electricity and the demand of electricity over that quarter, and also your gas sales. It also contemplates a small business model providing supply of electricity from the Boulder Canyon project, which is also Cougar Dam. Very generally speaking, what it's showing you is the quarterly usage is fairly flat in comparison to the previous year, it's reflecting your summer months. The questions that were asked directly, Councilmember Gomez, when was FEMA started? I don't have the exact date in front of me, but I recall it dating back to 2004-ish. We can get you an exact date. As to the bonds, we've discussed the bonds that are revenue bonds, lease revenue bonds, that are paid for by FEMA's out of operating revenues of the utility. The bonds are actually current. The electric utility operates to where it generates more than sufficient revenue to satisfy the debt service of those bonds, and there have not been any issues with respect to repayment of those bonds. As to the collateral, the lease revenue bonds do have a security pledge of a variety of different city buildings. All of that we've shared with you in the past. Some that come to mind without the documents in front of me include City Hall, the ground floors, fire stations. There's probably some parks in there as well. And as to the timing of those bonds, I believe those were issued back in 2007. I can confirm that separately. And as to the council members, I'd like to follow up with you on that just to be accurate as to which council members were on the council at that time. It was over 10 years ago.
For C2, what caused the delay of October 16th, October 30th, and the November 6th minutes to be adopted on the following meeting, which was November 6th? That's nearly a month and a half ago. It could have been done on November 6th. I'm interested and curious in understanding what transpired. And for the sake of conformity, why isn't this particular agenda item under forms and agenda structures?
The reason why the minutes weren't on last meeting was because it was an election, and we tried to keep that agenda light.
And the following question was, it's not following structure as the rest of the agenda items.
You'll have to show me, I don't know where you're.
Oh, I'll show you. Thank you. And then for item C6, what was the total investments for the 2018-19, 2017-18, and the 2016-17? I'm talking about the investments. How many entities is the city investing in? Please list them verbally, and please explain the bar graph in detail in relation to the portfolio. I'm also requesting a meeting with staff at my convenience with no restrictions as to be able to understand this furthermore. I'm available all this week at 9 in the morning and the following at 9 as well.
So, Madam Mayor, City Council, to answer the question regarding the C6, the question related to what entities are invested in, the majority of the city's money is invested in the organization we call LAIF, which is LAIF stands for the Local Agency Investment Fund. It's organized by the state of California. It's probably the most conservative investment option available to the city. Most of the money is invested there, though for those opportunities that are not, where the money is not invested in LAIF, they're invested into a variety of certificate of deposits at the community bank. And any other balances are invested per the documents that govern the investment of those funds, namely bond reserve funds and the banks that hold the money in accordance with the trust documents of those respective trust funds.
Okay, and then back to C2. If you look at every agenda item with the exception of C2, they are followed with a logo agenda item, consent calendar, or some type of topic matter submitted by, and then there's attachments with subjects, recommendations, and discussion. So I ran into the habit of looking at certain formalities for compliance of what I'm seeing. So that's what my question was. This was the only one item that I saw that I didn't follow, and so that's why I was questioning the structure of non-conformity with that one paper. And that is it. So with this, I move C1, C2 and C6 for approval.
Mr. Kennedy made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Who made the motion?
Mr. Kennedy made the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Ms. Gomez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. McGrady being absent.
Now we move on to written communications. Item D1, request to approve a piggyback purchase of 3 Kentworth T370 conventional cab trucks. Madam Clerk, with your recommendation.
That the City Council and Victorville Water District Board of Directors award National Auto Fleet Group the piggyback purchase of 2 2019 Kenworth T370 conventional cab 3 axle trucks with Rogers 15-foot dump body and 1 2019 Kenworth T370 conventional cab 2 axle truck with Rogers 10-foot dump body in the total amount of $382,462.93 under the Sourcewell, formerly National Joint Powers Alliance, contract number 081716-N8F, and as budgeted for the fiscal year 2018-2019 capital improvement project budget.
Thank you. At this time, council members, any questions of staff? I'll start with Mr. Kennedy.
No.
Ms. Gomez?
Yes, for item D2, is this approximate $70,000 a yearly expense? What is the total anticipated project cost? And I also like a copy of the techniques that focus on the financial value added to the cost-benefit analysis done by our staff for items D1 and D2.
Did you say B2 or one?
We're on D1.
So that's the same question for D1 and for D2.
Not quite understanding
We're
the
on
question.
D1.
What's the question?
So the question still stands whether it's D1 or D2, so I'll repeat them again. What is the approximate, I'm sorry, please order, if she continues to scream, I'm gonna ask for one of the police officers to please have her step out for 15 minutes.
You don't have
She's
to have her
interrupting,
to
as a point of order. If this woman is interrupting, I would like someone in our police force to make sure, stand by her and have her be a little silent. Thank you, I appreciate that. So for item D1 and D2, the same question is for the value, are these yearly expenses and what is the total anticipated project costs?
So the cost is in there, but no, these are one-time expenses. These aren't going on every year. These are just vehicle equipment purchases.
One-time expenses for both
Yes.
of them?
Yes.
Okay, and then, this is not a question, this is just a request. I like a copy of the techniques that focus on financial value added to the cost-benefit analysis that staff did for items D1 and D2. Thank you.
I do not have any speaker cards. Anybody else have a question?
No, since we've discussed item D1 and D2 at the same time, move forward.
No, we were just on D1. She's jumped into D2. We're on D1.
Need a motion? Is that-
Yes, I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve item D1.
I make a sub-motion to approve item D1 and D2.
I cannot do that. I'm on item D1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Cox.
I'm sorry, as a point of order, there was a subordinate motion, so we need to have clarification by Mr. Cox if that was for the first, because usually it takes priority and legal can confirm that.
Mr. Cox, I assume your second was on D1.
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Cox for D1. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. McGrady being absent.
Now we are on item D2. Request to approve a piggyback purchase of a Vactron vacuum excavation system trailer. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council and Victorville Water District Board of Directors award RDO Mirror the piggyback purchase of a Vactron vacuum excavation system trailer in the amount of $72,989.85 under the Sourcewell, formerly National Joint Powers Alliance, contract number 012418-BRM, and as budgeted for in the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget.
Thank you. At this time, any questions of staff or council members?
My same question stands, you've answered it, my same request stands, so staff, please take note of that, thank you.
Anyone else?
Move approval of item D2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Ms. Gomez. Any further questions or comments?
I did not have any speaker cards, so we're okay with the motions.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. McGratty absent.
Now we move on to item D3, quarterly report of PACE assessment activity and authorization of continued availability of PACE programs. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council review and file the quarterly report of property assessed clean energy assessment activity for properties located within Victorville's jurisdictional boundaries. Approve resolution numbers 18-088, 18-089, 18-090, 18-091 to enable continued PACE program availability and associated assessment proceedings by Golden State Finance Authority, California Statewide Proceedings Communities Development Authority, and California Municipal Finance Authority for properties located in Victorville. And approve resolution number 18-092 to approve an associate membership in the California Enterprise Development Authority Joint Exercise of Powers Authority and enable PACE program availability and associated assessment by CEDA for properties located in Victorville.
Thank you. Questions of staff at this time, the council members?
Yes, on what date did the city approve the quarterly reports? Just remind me, ever since that day, how many quarterly reports has staff and administration looked over? How many did the city council review? This is my first understanding, this is the first one that I recall. What did you mean by renewable energy generation? Are you attempting to say solar, wind power, hydropower, hydroelectricity, geothermal, etc.? What do you mean by water efficiency improvements? Are we talking about water boiler installations? What do you mean by the electric vehicle charging infrastructures? Is that placing charging stations as, for example, in the mall? What's the list of other that was included, that wasn't predefined? Would you please predefine the word communities, facilities, district, and provide a hard copy of each that belong in the city of Victorville? And name a handful of them in public so I can become familiar with understanding them or not. And define the purpose of the city's role with CSCDA, open space programs. How does the city connect and negotiate with the California Statewide Communities Development Authority? And please contextualize within the PACE program how the conduct of conducting contractual assessments proceedings and levying a contractual assessment is defined. I'm thinking money, levy, taxes, fees, assessments in that category. That's why I'm asking the question. And how does the California Municipal Finance Authority function within PACE in connection with the city resolution? Are they one in place, or are we adopting them? And again, who is California Enterprise Development Authority Fig Tree PACE program, and why is a resolution necessary? Are we the city adopting a JPA, and how many members are going to be participating, if any at all?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to request that Ms. Gomez submit her questions to the city manager in writing, and the city manager make a determination about whether any of them are worthy of response. Let us know how much time is going to be required to respond to this endless list of questions that could probably be answered if she would read the staff report, study the issue, and come to a meeting prepared, rather than just wasting an incredible amount of time asking inane, pointless, and meaningless questions. Do I need to put that in a motion?
I have the right to have those questions answered,
You do,
just like you just
and
did.
you should submit them to the city manager.
And I
because
have,
you're
and they don't
just
get
wasting
answered as
our
quickly
time.
as yours do. I'm not status quo.
Okay, I need to have order here, and do we need a motion on this now?
I believe it was done in the form of a motion, was it not? You said.
That's in the form of a motion if you got it.
I don't have any speaker cards, I need a motion, and then we can continue.
Well, I'm on the second, comments.
questions? Go ahead.
Thank you for your small city clerk, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
A year ago, all of this came before the city council. There were public hearings, and the principal requested it, property requested it, and the city council could have approved it at that time because anything that is related to a property assessment has to be approved by the city council. I was leery of the project, and rather than approve it, which would have been effective from now on, I asked that it be approved for 1 year, and they would address it to see if there had been problems. And if there were no problems, then go ahead and approve it. I haven't been aware of any problems, and all the questions that have been asked in the public hearing, asked and answered a year ago. Is that correct? That's correct.
Exactly.
Well, we need a vote first on that motion, which was to have the questions be submitted to the city manager and have them respond based to the extent they're not on the committee or addressed to the staff boards.
You make a motion to pass?
Yes, that was-
Second? It was seconded by Mr. Cox. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Mr. Negretti being absent and Ms. Gomez voting no.
And Mayor Garcia, we still then need to consider the action item, which is on the agenda for approval. That motion was just to have questions submitted to the city manager and have them respond.
Okay, so now I need a motion to, I need a motion.
I move approval of the staff report, including the various resolutions named by the city clerk.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mayor Garcia. Any further questions or comments?
Yes, I don't have the appropriate amount of information that I would get during public comment for the benefit of the public, so I'm voting no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no, Mr. Negretti being absent.
Now we move on to item D4, Rotary Club membership. The recommendation here is that the city council approve for the city manager to apply for membership to the Rotary Club. And I do have one card. Ramiro Rodriguez.
Good evening. I just have a question about the city of Victorville paying for the fee to join the Rotary Club. I know what the Rotary Club's about, business, getting together with the citizens. I was wondering if any future it could be conflict of interest deemed because the city paid for a private citizen, well, not private citizen, a city employee to do business with the private sector. I don't know if the conflict of interest, or also if it's common practice for the city to be paying for the city manager. Why hasn't every city was Robertson also funded his membership to the Rotary Club? I just see something more important than the actual person himself as a citizen, this person, the city manager, to join on his own will. You know, somebody that the city's paying him $25,500 a month. I think him, as to better himself, he should see whether he wants to join the Rotary Club, the Lions Club, the Freemasons, on his behalf, rather than having the city flip the bill for something like that, which would become more him as a private citizen to better himself in the city community. Thank you.
I have a question. What was the $5,000 a month?
The $319,000 a year that the gentleman is paid by the city of Victorville. Thank you.
That doesn't do this question. Council, just disregard that. The question is whether or not the city council wants to pay for membership. As far as I know, since the city incorporated, the city council has paid for the membership. The city manager and the club of his choice, and he feels best represents the community.
Are there any questions of staff at this time?
Keith, what do you think is the benefit to the city of your involvement
member of the road?
I think it's certainly valuable from the perspective that it allows an opportunity for myself representing the organization to connect with the business community. It gives me a more forced interaction with the business community. It allows me to get out more regularly. I have been involved in different service organizations over my time with the city. Kiwanis is an organization that I've been involved with for many, many years. And very traditionally, whether it was Kiwanis or other service organizations, that's traditionally been viewed as a cost of doing business. As to previous city management, it's been a long-standing tradition as it relates to Rotary to have the city manager involved. The only thing different, and the reason why this is here, is when we negotiated my contract almost a year ago, 2 months ago. No, actually not even that long ago, time was back in April. One of the things that we both promoted to each other was increased accountability. And this is not a provision that had traditionally been in past city management's contracts. Certainly it was in my agreement to be more accountable to the council and make the council aware in what capacities I was to go out and represent the city. So that's the only reason why this item is here. I think it's certainly valuable, largely from the perspective that it allows us to stay connected and continue to be connected. Be able to answer questions to the community that they have that would otherwise be asked and answered.
As a point of order, I'd like to place on the record that Kennedy was not timed the 2 minutes as I have and everybody else should have. So there's a breakage of policy there, and I'd like to make sure it's instituted in our records. Thank you.
Can I ask for clarification?
Yes, when Kennedy began to speak, the time was not on. So in other words, we have a preferential treatment to council members, and I was keeping tabs. But I didn't want to be rude to Mr. Medford as he was speaking, so I made sure that we returned and did it as a point of order and address it as I have already. So thank you. Yeah, now you are adding it, right? I understand that, and I can see that's why it's part of point of order and it's on the record, because I'm looking at the time.
Well, you run over the clock all the time, dear. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate for that confirmation. So I also have a question. I don't know, Madam Mayor, if it's my turn yet. I'll wait for your request. If it's not, then I'll wait my turn.
You can speak.
So for D4, I have a couple of questions. What benefit is it that the community will benefit with this passage of this item in terms of the manager, us taxpayers paying for it rather than he using his own paycheck, which is also established by taxpayer money, approximately $20,000 a month. I don't know that he cannot afford it. And how is it not an additional appropriation? It does show as not an additional appropriation. I'm assuming that it was probably approved. I just don't know when it was approved, so it's not additional. And I'd like an explanation on it's not additional. And the approximately $1,600, why not $300 a year? I saw something that says $300, so forth and so forth, but we want to allocate $1,600. I'm not sure why that disparity. And I'd like to see if you would be able to apply service above self, as this Rotary says, by paying for the first year's membership with your money, and then possibly the second year seeking for subsidization from the city as a portion of it.
Anyone else?
Yes. I belong to Rotary, I belong to Elks, I'm a life member of the AMDAS, I belong to the American Legion, I belong to a lot of organizations because I think it benefits me, I pay for those. We're not asking the city manager to join an organization that benefits him, we're asking him to benefit the council. This is for the city council. He didn't have to join anything. It's the city that reaps the benefit of doing this. And he's graciously consented to do it. His contract says he needs to ask. And if we want to have him to represent us at the Rotary, is yes. If we don't, it's enough. All this other is purposeless nonsense.
At this time, can we have a motion then?
Yeah, I'm waiting for my responses. They were questions, not rhetoricals.
Let me call for the question.
My understanding is Mr. Nessler answered pretty much the questions about the benefit to
No,
the city.
he did not, or else I would have asked the same question over. you realize, maybe it's just my misunderstanding, it just says President Circle Platinum, 1,200 a year, Gold 600 a year, Bronze 600 a year. So I don't know where 1,600 and so forth comes. So I was seeking for clarification, but if he's already answered that question, I stand corrected. Someone made the motion, right? Okay, so then someone needs to second it.
Have a second? Second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mayor Garcia. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no and Mr. Negretti absent.
Now we move on to D5, adjournment of the November 20th, 2018 City Council meeting to December 10, 2018. The recommendation is that the City Council consider adjourning the November 20th, 2018 regular City Council meeting to December the 10th, 2018. Do we have any questions here?
No question.
No?
Yes. So what's the purpose and who gains from adjourning today's meeting to a Monday, a week after our pre-adopted meetings? Just wondering rationale. As it is, we have few people that make it to our Tuesdays, first and third. So I wasn't understanding why not the first. I understand there's a December 6th county assembly elections, certifies the votes. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. The prior Monday from that, the next Monday is Tuesday, but yet we're deciding on a Monday. And I think we just ostracize and marginalize a lot of our newcomers because they're not on top of the Monday meeting. And as you can see, 130,000 people don't fit in this room, so I don't know what percentage will be coming in on that Monday.
The reason for the change of the meeting is addressed in the staff report. The reason to adjourn to the December 10th date is that the December 10th date then becomes a regular meeting for all purposes. And per our policy manual, we can at that point, at a regular meeting, elect officers. And since the election results aren't final until that date, that's the first available date to deal with the election results.
Okay, and finally, this breaks the rhythm and the set patterns for our predetermined meetings. I mean, when I was elected in 2016, there was nothing of that nature, but you just brought up the fact that policy handbook has changed. So I'm assuming that's where our major evidence lies, so I thank you for that clarification.
The issue is the timing of the San Bernardino registrar of voters counting the votes, and that those votes do not come out until after a regularly scheduled meeting.
Wasn't that explained in the staff report?
Yes, it is.
I didn't have any problem understanding.
We're not talking about your discussion, and to keep decorum, it would be best to keep the peace if you didn't always have to jab something when you're no longer elected after the next week. You don't make it easy for anyone up here.
Okay, can I have a motion? Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mayor Garcia. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti absent.
Now we move on to item D6, professional services provider agreement for fire department medical director. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council approve the service agreement between the City of Victorville and Dr. Franz Bolowich for the Fire Department Medical Director at a monthly cost of $1,625 beginning November 2018, not to exceed a total of $32,500, and authorize the City Manager or his designee to execute the Customer Service Order Service Agreement.
Thank you. Any questions of staff by council members on this item?
Yeah, am I gonna be getting a response? Well, I'm gonna be CCing my attorney on these, I'm gonna have her watch, just so you know, because I feel discriminated at this moment in terms of violation. This is my time to speak. This is my time to speak. I'm setting it on the record because this is how we bring up things that are bothering council members as a whole. So what's the length of the contract or the MOU between the City of Victorville and the Fire Department Medical Director? How many hours will the director be working a month? What are his duties? What do they include as a director? Is this a contract, an agreement? I think it's a service agreement. And please explain your not to exceed 32.500 figure, and then tell me what standard of currency you are addressing this by placing a dollar sign in front of the 2 digits, split by a decimal, followed by 3 digits. I'm requesting of the city manager a copy of the fire department medical director's resume and hard copy, and my boss, no later than Tuesday, December for the first meeting, 2018. Also provide the service agreement / contract by the aforementioned date. And is the city anticipating with the contract $500,000 more added to the fire department costs? If so, the county services are looking cheaper than the start of the city's fire department.
Madam Mayor and members of the council, everything about this item is fairly well laid out in the staff report. The contract that Councilmember Gomez has asked for is actually on page 1121. And on page 2
What page was it?
1121 of the agenda. And then on page 1122, it speaks to the term, which is a 2-year term. It does talk about the compensation. Back on 1121, it actually details the scope of services. This is specifically relating to bringing on a medical doctor so that we have a medical doctor able to provide the guidance to our paramedic service. It's something that's required in the overall EMS responsibilities as governed by ISOM. So the price is laid out. It has, I'm not even sure I understand the whole question about comparing county fire service versus city. I think we've already been through that. But this is just one of the next task list items that we have to do to effectively be ready by March 29th to be able to roll out city fire.
And were you able to address the dollar sign, the 2 digits split by a decimal with 3 digits? What is that currency, euro currency? I mean, that's pretty much laid out. I just don't understand your 20 years of experience and my 2 years, how this is all laid out.
I'm not sure where you're at, but this is going to be in dollars.
Okay, so that perhaps staff made an error?
I mean, it's possible, but I don't see that in there.
That's just the clarity that I need, you know?
Okay,
There is no need to dullify my questions by saying it's all laid out, because clearly I don't have 20 years of experience. If I knew, I would not be asking these questions.
Could you identify what page you're speaking of?
Yes.
Because I don't see anywhere that's.
I'm looking in the report. I'm going to get back to you to get this on the report, because I don't want people to say that I'm wasting their time, and I will address it as a point of order and show you the page. Yes.
I'd like to give it to me, because I read this contract, and I didn't see anything resembling what you're talking about, so when you get back to that question, please give me a copy. Thank you.
Okay, I do not have any speaker cards, so I need a motion to decide.
Madam Mayor, move approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no and Mr. McGrady absent.
Item D7, sale of property between the successor agency to the Victorville Redevelopment Agency and Seasons Land Corporation. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the successor agency board of directors adopt resolution number R-SA-18-002, approving the sale of property described as APN number 405-072-32 to Seasons Land Corporation, and authorize the deputy city manager to execute any and all transactional documents to the sale.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff by council members?
No question.
Yes, so how much is the 5% broker's commission in dollars? Who is the real estate negotiator and who's the broker?
Madam Mayor and Council, the broker of record for the city, the broker representing the city on this transaction is Caldwell Baker Commercial Victorville. So they consult with staff and so they together when we negotiate this transaction, negotiate transaction. The math is, the sales price here is $85,000, so let me do the math real quickly. $4,250 is the commission on the transaction.
Thank you. No further questions. Anyone else?
Yes. Did the city take an action, did this council take an action to actually list Caldwell Baker as the Brooks for the city?
Mayor Pro Tem Cox, I believe 2 months ago, the council approved a contract with Caldwell Baker Commercial for city real estate services. Yes.
So that's always going to go based upon action of this council.
Correct.
Thank you. I do not have any speaker cards, so I need a motion.
You have speaker card?
No, I have not.
I move approval of consent. Sorry. Sorry, she was there. All right, second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Ms. Gomez. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti being absent.
Item D8, purchase of video detection equipment from Iterius Inc. in the not to exceed amount of $99,744.88. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the city council approve $99,744.88 for the purchase of video detection equipment from Iteris Incorporated.
Thank you. Any questions from council members or staff?
Yes, would you explain the sole source in terms of timeliness and emergency, not based on a limited company having access to a sole source? I've understood through discussions with other council members outside of the city that sole source is a default when our staff or administration are not necessarily prepared or ready to do a search. And I'm not saying or accusing staff of not being ready, but I want to understand how we have approached this particular item in terms of timeliness and emergency and not fall back on a default that we didn't have enough time to research, so we went to a sole source.
The sole source justification is based on standardization, which is allowed for in our city code section 2.28.100. And the justification for that is in the staff report. And we've been using this standardized equipment on our signals for about 20 years. We have 91 signals, and it's compatible with all the equipment that we use on our traffic signals.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti absent.
Item D9, purchase and sale agreement of Victorville Investment Partners for Green Tree Boulevard Extension Project. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the city council approve the purchase and sale agreement of the right-of-way acquisition for the Green Tree Boulevard Extension Project for Victorville Investment Partners, APN numbers 480-021-26, 0480-021-30, and 0480-021-61.
Thank you. Questions of staff or council members? No one? I don't have any speaker cards. Therefore, I need a motion.
I move approval of item D9.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mayor Garcia. Any further questions or comments?
Yes. Because it's been impossible for the last 3 months to be able to set up an appointment with city staff or city manager according to my availability, I'm going to have to vote no on this item. And again, I'm going to make myself, as I've said, I'm available this week at 9 and on, and the following week, 9 o'clock. Preferred to have the 9 o'clock. And I'm attempting on the record again to set up an appointment to understand the specific project that I've not been able to vote on.
Just a comment. I think it is safe to say, I don't think this is a surprise or any violation. This item has been discussed in extreme detail in closed session. And all of us have been present, as we are required to do by Brown Act. It's just inconceivable to me that there's something that isn't understood about this transaction. But if it isn't, it isn't.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mayor Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no and Mr. Negretti absent.
Now we move on to item D10. Reject all bids for skate park project at Doris Davies Park and re-advertise the project. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council reject all bids received and opened for this project and direct staff to re-advertise two separate projects, the skate park and Doris Davies Park and Doris Davies Park improvements.
Thank you. Any questions from staff by council members? Mr. Kennedy? Mr. Fox?
I have comments, no questions.
Go ahead.
Yes, how much expenses?
Mr. Fox is speaking.
Well,
He has comments. He said he doesn't have any questions.
comments after the motion, second, I have comments. Thank you.
So, what have we expended up to date, since we have to kind of like restart to put it to two different bidding? How much have we spent? This error is costing our taxpayer money for the lack thereof, whatever it is, irregularities, fast speed, election, whatever it have you. So I'm just concerned how much thus far we spent.
I don't have the exact number. I can certainly follow up. The only monies that I can tell you we have spent have been in connection with what's been authorized by this council, and it's likely particular to the design work associated with getting ready for the bid. So, I don't know. Get a chance to go over.
It's the 42,000 that's mentioned in the staff report. That's the amount that's been spent for design.
So my question for clarification is in terms of making a mistake in retracting to get back on track has cost city taxpayers an allotted amount of money. We've already done, like you said, the design work, it's costing 42,000. Now to be able to retract, this is staff time. Staff today, the staff that's sitting on the left-hand side gets paid tonight for being here, regardless of the skate park or not being here. But the amount that you have allocated in hours, I don't know your salary, I know your salary, how much have we expended? Has there a data analysis been done in that regard? See how much it has cost us? Because this is looking like that to a lot of constituents that I've already spoken to in the last 2 months.
If the council is asking for an accounting of staff time, I'm sure that's something we can do. Right now, the amount that we have measured is what's been spent on external services.
Did you have something?
Oh, no, I don't have it, but I do have comments. I have questions, actually. We have requested to put this off. So it would seem like that any council member or anyone who has additional questions can ask those. We have plenty of time to get them answered because this has to come back to the council. And I don't want to jab anyone, but it's everything that we get is taxpayers' money, but this is development impact fees. Where does just for the record, where does development impact fees come from?
Those are paid directly from builders and developers.
So it's not a general fund item, it's not from the taxpayers. So I hate to get technical, but, you know, this.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So, you know, it's just, we run everything together, the public doesn't really understand this. But anyway, I just had those questions, and I'm still have the comments after we have the motion second for comment. I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, I know we throw out very loosely that it's all taxpayers' money, but yeah, it is taxpayers' money, even when council members abuse it.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, if I might, with respect to the 42,000 that's been spoken to for design, I'd like to point out that if we start over this project, it's not as if that money is wasted. We actually have design. That's actually intellectual property, and it's a intellectual property as a design work that we'll use to actually restart the procurement process. So it's not entirely lost. So I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. If no other questions, can I have a motion here? Second.
I have comments, I'm sorry.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mayor Garcia. Any further questions or comments?
Well, the recommendation is rejected bids, both, and to re-advertise the two separate projects, but we have two new council members that are going to be on the council before we even have the opportunity to start advertising. And it seems to me that I hope that the council will recognize that the two new council members are going to be voting on all of this. And therefore, before we move too quickly, the manager and staff that's involved should be meeting, or the manager particularly, to educate, fill in the two new members who have not had the benefit of this last 2-year discussion on this. That way, when we get into the details, all of us will hopefully have all the questions answered and they will be familiar with it. I don't want to assume that they don't know anything about it, but it seems to me that we'd all be better educated if we had that little delay to recognize two new members are coming on. That's it.
Thank you, that's very
Just to
generous.
be understood, it's not part of the motion, it's an objection, I understand, but it seemed like this would be good for you.
So what was your motion?
Well, go ahead and reject the bids and direct staff to advertise, except don't do it immediately, just wait until we get the two new members on and they get brought up to speed. And that should be very quickly.
I'll second that motion. Wrap it all together.
I do have a second by Mayor Garcia.
Oh.
The motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mayor Garcia. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
I have a comment. So, in terms of looking at the builders and the developers, we all know that builders and developers end up passing the price to those individuals who are paying for the commodities, for anything like us. So, I hate to be very technical myself, but it is our taxpayer money. And I hate to be very technical as well, but according to the Community Parks and Rec survey that we did, our first top priorities did not include the skate park. Our community sought many other things like a water park and other things of that nature. So I would hate to say that this is just a partisan thing that we're looking at in terms of perhaps having to keep a specific council member, who now Mr. Cox has confirmed that we have two new, not just one, incoming individuals. So I'd like to have that consideration for all of us as well. So, no, that's my response.
So you're voting against it?
Yes, I'm voting against it.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no and Mr. McGrady absent.
Now we move on to D11. Appropriation and expenditure of program income received from residential curb appeal program case number 17-08-09. Madam Clerk, read your recommendation.
That the City Council adopt resolution number 18-095, increasing the CDBG budget by authorizing the appropriation of the program income from residential curb appeal program, case number 17-08-09 into the CDBG budget, and approving the expenditure of program income from RCAP case number 17-08-09 in the amount of $15,150 for future RCAP projects.
Thank you. Council members, questions of staff?
Yes, so in the words of our city manager, this is all laid out in this agenda item. However, I'm not understanding how it's all laid out in here. So my understanding of this in conversations prior to the interruption of me not asking questions directly to individuals here, it's my understanding that with this, what we're doing is, if we have that project for the curbside program, and there's still money allotted, we bring it back to the CDBG. Is that accurate or is that something different? Would you be able to explain that? If that's accurate, I remember the understanding, but if it's not, please clarify it for me.
So in this particular case, Madam Mayor, members of the council, the CDBG is the funding source for this residential curb appeal program. And in this particular case, it funded a loan to a homeowner, and I believe the homeowner effectively was selling the property as a condition to the sale of the property. The amounts loaned to that homeowner to do improvements to the home had to be repaid. So as a function of the repayment, the question becomes of its deposit and where it gets deposited to. So it has to get repaid to the CDBG fund. My understanding of this item particularly, and the reason why it's here is it's here to create an appropriation budget on the revenue side to show that money come in to the city coffer, since it was not contemplated the repayment of this loan as a part of the original budget process.
Thank you for that explanation. No further questions on this item.
I do not have any speaker cards, therefore I need a motion.
Move to staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti absent.
Item D12, adoption of conflict of interest code amendment. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council, sitting as the code reviewing body for the City of Victorville, the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, the Southern California Logistics Rail Authority, the Victorville Library Board of Trustees, the Victorville Water District, and the Victorville Joint Powers Finance Authority adopt resolution number 18-083, amending the city's conflict of interest code to update position classification titles, disclosure categories, and filing requirements for all agencies, as well as make certain other minor revisions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
Yeah, for this one, I had a question early on when it came on, because there was no explanation. There seems to be some of it, but I understand how we're looking at FTC, and then, but how is that conflictual? Was there an update of the law in California? Was there an update with the Secretary of State that triggered this? I mean, was it a municipal code? Where is the origin of an updated? I'm sure that it's not just out of thin air, or I would hope it's not. So I do need some clarification that's contextualized with how this ran about. Is it a state thing that happened and then it triggers us to automatically do it? Is it in your field?
Every 2 years, you update.
Every 2 years?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Is that explained in the staff report?
It is.
I thought so.
Everything's explained.
I would appreciate if you would be able to keep decorum by not being able to cause humor.
I do not have any
Okay, that's not
speaker cards.
appreciated of you, Mr. Kennedy
I now
and
need
Mrs.
a
Garcia.
motion.
It doesn't matter if you talk over me, it's still on the record.
You worry about your decorum.
Please, you need to be quiet or you're gonna be asked to step out. This is the second time you're being addressed, Mrs. Martin, okay? Thank you very much for keeping it silent.
Lead your response, please.
Please, Ms. Garcia, it's up here, we work as a team.
I thought we were trying to do.
We are, so don't call mine when we're not calling out in the front.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gomez, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti absent.
Item D13, settlement agreement and mutual general release, Mars Pet Care Inc. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council approve the settlement agreement with Mars Pet Care as successor to Sagebrush Properties pertaining to the ongoing implementation and administration of the Energy Services Agreement dated December 22, 2004, and authorize its execution with such non-substantive changes as may be approved by the City Manager and the City Attorney.
Thank you. Again, any questions of staff or council members?
Yes, this question is for the city attorney, and I would appreciate if Mr. Kennedy and Mrs. Garcia would stop stating things that are degrading. We are trying to work here as a team. Believe me, I am trying to work with you as a team. whether you laugh about it or you're not, we have 2 more years together. I'm kind of using up the, I'm sorry, Gloria and possibly Lou. So for Mr. Dubernowski, it says such non-substantive changes. We have talked about this particular item in closed session, but not in terms of it being non-substantive changes. It's my understanding that it's more than non-substantive. Perhaps it's the definition that is being used versus an actual settlement that's going to cost us millions of dollars. To me, that's non-substantive. However, you can clarify that for me and give me the settlement and I'll figure, because we know it's already a part of the settlement here. So we don't need to talk about closed session items, we're talking about open session items.
Yeah, the settlement agreement is pretty straightforward in terms of what the settlement amount is. It is $1,000,000 and $56,000. The approval requests that it be approved based on any not substantive changes, meaning changes that are not in any way impacting the actual transaction. So there are no changes to the agreement that actually impact the substance of the agreement. Non-substantive means little technical cleanup items, and as a matter of fact, the version that's in front of you on the agenda has no required changes. That is one that has been agreed to by the other side, so we can approve it and it will not change.
And lastly, Mr. Dubernowski, I want to thank you for not using condescending language and respecting the fact that as a council member, I do have a voice. So I'm going to say thank you for that, for doing that and respecting my voice right here as a council member. Thank you. I move the item.
Sorry.
Motion by Ms. Gomez, seconded by Mr. Cox. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negretti absent.
Now we move on to public comments. And, you want to read the statement? Before I continue with the slide.
This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on any item listed or not listed on the agenda per Government Code Section 54954.3. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. The council may receive testimony and set the matter to a subsequent meeting. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes per individual or less as deemed necessary by the mayor, depending upon the number of individuals desiring to speak. All communications are to be addressed directly to the council, not the members of the audience. This is a professional business meeting and courtesy and decorum are expected. Please refrain from any debate between audience and speaker, making loud noises, or engaging in any activity which might be disruptive to the decorum of the meeting. Any person or group who interferes with the conduct of the city council meeting by willfully interrupting and or disrupting the meeting is subject to removal. A peace officer may be requested to assist with removal should any person or group fail to comply with an order of removal by the council. Any person or group who resists removal by a peace officer is subject to arrest and prosecution pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.9, Penal Code Section 403.
Thank you. I do have some cards. The first one is Maggie Martin. After Maggie, Rafael Porras.
I have ABD bride that's going to get here any moment.
I'm sorry.
I have an ADA bride that's going to get here any moment. Is there any way I can move up?
You don't mind.
Yeah.
I have medication to take as well, so I'm on a time crunch. So, yeah, I'd appreciate it, but whatever, fine.
Hi, Mayor. I saw you yesterday, as a matter of fact, at the VVTA meeting. And I'm here because actually my concern is safety.
I'm sorry, your name was?
My name is Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Last name Irajkna, I-R-A-D.
That's what I met you yesterday.
Yes. My concern, I guess, I did not see the officer there at the meeting, but that would be addressed to you as well, is the safety issue at 7th and Lorraine. I'm there at least, this week, twice a week actually, twice this week, but normally 3 times a week at that bus station. And my concern is safety at that bus stop. I'm constantly seeing loitering, at times drug use, prostitution.
And the comments should be directed to the mayor.
It's the entire council. We're dealing with safety here, and the people, the taxpayers.
That's like you're talking to the
You have to address to us.
Okay. Safety with this city is my concern. I want to be able to ride the bus, get onto the bus safe, and when I get off the bus, be safe. So I know the VVTA and itself at this meeting is not the concern. My concern is the safety issue when I get on that bus. So it's very important that while I'm waiting there, that we find some way, however it is, that the city needs to do it, that we ensure safety for the people that are waiting there. If we need to find a means to find security there, because I've seen security there, but I've also seen those same security guards at times, hopefully it's smoking homemade cigarettes, but I see them smoking, and they shouldn't be smoking in a public place when they're hired by the city or hired by whoever to secure those places. Using frequent cuss words, I don't feel very secure with those security people. As simple as that. People selling bus passes when they don't work for the VVTA, and it's not the greatest thing. And then, what was it, the Friday before Halloween, there was a shooting there about an hour and 14 minutes after I left for the 9 o'clock bus. Thank you very much. So that's just something that I would like to see better handled by the city, and I would appreciate that very much. Everybody have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Maggie Martin and after Maggie will be operating progress.
That's not gonna take, so I'd like to speak on that whenever probable. This is the second time I'm kind of not as
Good evening, Your Honor, Council. I have a little something I whipped up to read to Councilman Kennedy that I didn't have when I was here the last time. Okay, it goes like this. Dear Councilman Kennedy, I'm first going to address the bitter, then the sweet. I appreciate the fact so very much how you have addressed our problem child on the council. Throughout this time, you have continued to speak about how she doesn't bring anything of substance or redeeming value to the council. Nor to the citizens of Victorville. I hope whoever follows in your stead will have the wisdom and discernment to continue the path you have so clearly paved. I want you to know how much I appreciate your years of service to this council and the citizens of Victorville, and how sorely your presence on the dais will be missed. I will never forget your very forthright and candid comments about the issues of the council, and more importantly, how you always approached every situation with forethought, dignity, and graciousness. You have not only touched my mind, but my heart and soul in many, many profound ways. I don't know of anyone whose life would not be bettered, whether in their professional or personal lives, should they look to you as a prime example of how to conduct themselves. You are absolutely in a league of your own, and other comparisons will pale, no matter how excellent they may be, and still find themselves in second place. I guess the best way I know how to express my gratitude is to tell you that not only how you have touched my life, but changed my life. For this, I am forever in your debt. I wish you the best of everything life has to offer you, now and always. Thank you, your humble servant, Maggie Martin. And I'd like to give this card to you. May I approach?
Good evening, Mr. Council, Gloria, Jean. I'm called today to say thank you to you, Jean. 8 years, Mr. Cabral introduced it to me, and you come to happen
For the police officer, when you have someone talking like Maggie Martin, that's what you should be addressing. Right now, this man is of color, that woman is white. I do not appreciate that type of.
Point of order, I will have you removed.
Right here in front of my face, and that's going to be added to the
Point of
record.
order, have you
Thank you
removed.
very much. I'm watching.
Point of order, I will have you
As a
removed.
point of order, we have a white woman
Blanca.
I'm sorry, that will not continue
Blanca.
in this
And I
city
have her
hall.
removed. She's
Blanca.
disrupted.
Blanca,
No,
can you
you are being
please?
disruptive for the decorum.
Blanca, can you please? Please.
You know, I want to continue peacefully. That's the only reason I'm not having her removed right now.
Okay, please, Gloria. Jean, thank you so much. You know my number. I really appreciate what you do those 8 years working hard for our community. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Lamar, Jordan, Taylor, and then after Lamar, Ruth, Cordova.
Okay, yeah. So my name is LamarJordonTaylor, and I was born January 16th, 1991. My son was born October 22nd of 2008, and my father was born April 1st of 1942. So that's 777 cross. Rest in peace to my father. So I know that the women's shelter. There were people in there, and that weird frontier building that walked around and stuff like that. It's weird how there's people, I don't know, live action movies, sub-annual every 2 years. I told people that I don't play games with grown-ass women. Oh, sorry for cursing, my sincerest apologies. I don't play games with adults. I play games with my 10-year-old child, which is my son, which is on an Indian reservation, yeah, A through Z, I don't know, Cheyenne and Lynch, yeah, I don't know, so, yeah. Live action movie, yeah, that's serious. They're doing a live action movie thing. It's not fair. People are losing lives. There are kids dying and stuff. There are women getting impregnated that like, it's just not fair. And people know about it and stuff. Because it's like, what is it? It's like South and Woods and like up north and Brothers, but there are people who are like easily bought out and whatnot. And that's happened to me because I've been lied to about my probation officer multiple times, which my probation officer is Stephanie Hernandez. My public defender is, well, the secretary is Brianna, and my public defender is Alex Freeman. So I don't really know if there's anything much else I can say, but this movie shit is bullshit. People need to be like let out of air conditioners and boarded up buildings and like places with peepholes and everything like that, because if not, then there's going to be like serious problems, and more serious than was already occurring. And there are a lot more red cars out here. That's pretty awesome sauce. I don't know. I saw a coyote for the second time yesterday. So that means L-O-K-I. And then I did research on that, and then that's a Treyu. So yeah, if people like use their brains instead of their, rear end, if people acted their age and not their shoe size, then yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see the yellow light flashing thingy. I don't know. That kind of addresses everything, like kidnapping, terrorism, misclassification. I died twice on 7th. I don't know. We did. I don't know. Fix it. Or maybe you can be put in the same situation or the same boat and see what happens and how you feel when you lose yours. Because I had 100% custody of my son. That guy took it away from me. And my ex had a miscarriage over this shit. My mom was led to her last stage of COPD. My brother has sleep apnea now. Sir, talk to my aunt. I don't know you. Okay, well, thank you, and fix it, or you could be fixed.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you. Ruth, and then after Ruth, Romero, Rodriguez.
Ruth Cordova, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. I wasn't going to read this off, I was going to shoot from the hip and find it necessary, so I might stumble for words. It is very sad news for all the fellow citizens witnessing the departure of Jim Kennedy, councilman of the city of Victorville, from holding office, as he stood courageously in the defense, protection, and representation for those that love and seek justice. Councilman Jim Kennedy dedicated his tenure to love, protect, and defend the oath of office and to the United States Constitution, and now is departing during the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time in the United States, we ask ourselves, what kind of a nation we are and in what direction we want to move in. For those that act in part of injustice can be filled with bitterness and with hatred and a desire to seek revenge during his departure. We can move in that direction as a city and or a country with greater polarization filled with hatred toward one another and in the pursuit of injustice, or we can make an effort in this city and in across our nation to get and go beyond these issues. What we need in the city of Victorville and across our nation is not division, hatred, violence, or lawlessness, but is the love of our country and compassion for those that protected and defended us all despite their sex, race, color, creed, and or national origin. The City Councilman Jim Kennedy, the city of Victorville, has committed himself to just that. It is not the end of violence, not the end of lawlessness, not the end of disorder. But the majority of people here in the city of Victorville and across our nation want and desire a better quality of life and to live together. So we must dedicate ourselves to that. We say a prayer as Councilman Jim Kennedy, the city of Victorville, now departs from his position and to the oath of office, and now only pray that he seek a higher calling for the protection and defense for the people of our nation. God bless you, sir. God bless you. You may be gone but never forgotten. The colors yellow mean a new beginning for you. They need water now, I'm so sorry, but we love you, and we always will love you. Thank you, sir. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Romero.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to Blanca for cluing us in on everything that's happening. I learned something today. I asked a question about the city manager getting funded for the Rotary Club. Mr. Cox graciously answered the question that I asked. He said the city thinks the city would benefit by having him join the Rotary Club. That's all that we were asking. Same thing with Blanca's asking all these futile and ridiculous questions. No, a lot of those things, us as citizens don't know what's going on. I just learned today that $43,000 was spent on the designing of the skate park. That money is not lost. It's going to be used for the skate park. But then I heard also, you know what, let's not talk about this because 2 new people are coming in and something's going to happen. So I kind of think that skate park is gone. That thing got the axe already today. We just saw the end of the skate park. But another thing, also, what I heard also, that all the questions that you did a motion that all the questions have to be submitted to the city manager first. So does that just include the Mexican Blanca Gomez? Or does every one of you guys have to also submit your questions to the city manager, or she is just singled out? That's one of the other questions I have too. The thing is, there's repercussions for every action that's taken. I understand the meetings go long, questions are asked, but you know, before questions weren't asked, there weren't 66,000 extra people looming 10 years, 7 years, or 8 years ago. Now there's a lot of people here. We asked for translation services. It was denied to us because we didn't speak American. People did their taxes, spoke English. Somebody else preferred to pay for the lights for the Little League people, for the Little League kids. So we're getting conflicting answers here. One of the things is we see the population here is 38% of the population does not speak English. I just voted last Tuesday, and my folder was in Spanish and English, and in the back it said like 10 other languages. So why can't we get translation services so the people up there can see what's happening and have their hearsay? So a gentleman doesn't have to come up here and says, the neighbor told me this and scared me. Now another conflicting thing, he said eminent domain. I heard that word here. And if that person, if this city council meeting was translated in Spanish, I know the website is in Spanish too, written, but if it was translated in Spanish right now, more people would be listening in, more people would be asking questions. Not everybody's going to come feel here. But the thing is, thank you, Blanca, for asking those questions. We're listening, and thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Those were all the cards that I have. Now we move on to reports from our city manager.
Madam Mayor and members of the council, I do have sad news to report. A friend to the city, former planning commissioner Bob Wilson, was brought to my attention earlier this week that he passed away due to a heart attack. He served the city's planning commission from 2009 to 2016, so certainly through some of the recessionary time, but did see quite a bit of growth while he was here. He did pass away over the weekend, having a heart attack. I did want to share that with you and just wanted to recognize him for his dedicated service and just sad to see him go. He was a good friend of the city. Though I'm pleased to announce one of our very own, Dana Armstrong, she's our environmental program manager. She's actually been nominated for what's called the Accolade Award. It's an award, it's an annual award that's doled out by the Chamber of Commerce. So due to her involvement, as you saw her here earlier tonight, in managing our recycling programs and solid waste programs, she's been recognized for her efforts and her outreach to the community. So hopefully she'll be successful in that endeavor. And then finally, Festival of Lights and Tree Lighting Ceremony is going to be held on Saturday, December 1st here at Victorville City Hall. That will be from 4 to 7 p.m. The event is free and features Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. There'll be free hot chocolate, cookies, horse carriage rides, and holiday arts and crafts. For any questions, you can call the community center or myself. That's all.
Christmas parade.
Christmas parade as well. Sunday.
Let's have a moment of silence for Bob Wilson, please. Amen. Now we move on to E3, discussion and possible action regarding the items for the upcoming city council agenda. Wanda? No. I don't have anything either. Reports from council members, 3-minute time limit.
Just one thing, I haven't had a chance to meet Ms. Rivera, so I don't know her. I understand she's a former member of the Copper Mountain College Board, which strikes me as a good qualification. But I have had a wonderful pleasure in the last few months getting to know Deborah Jones and her husband, and I just can't tell you how pleased I am that she'll be joining this council next month. So Deborah, best of luck to you.
I don't have any comments. I don't have any reports.
So I'd also like to congratulate the 2 incoming council members for the next month, Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Ramirez. This will be a 4 women to 1 council member that you'll be starting to see. Also, with Google Translate, I'm sorry, it does not do service to translate our language Spanish. It doesn't do service. I've checked it out and I've made a request to the city manager during the feedback comment, but it was either that or nothing. So just for that, Google Translate doesn't work. I've already tried it. Once again, let's avoid the appearance of impropriety. If you're in uniform and you're in duty, you're here to serve and protect, regardless of color, regardless of gender, class, etc. To the Sergeant at Arms, equanimity is very important in city council meetings. Today, I witnessed a white female on 3 occasions be louder than what loud can be. Not once did any police officer in uniform address and ask her to please be silent. There was a lack of professionalism, business meeting courtesy, and decorum that is expected. However, also being in front of this dais, I witnessed that a young male who was actually homeless, of color, and lacking money, he was addressed. To me, on the eyes of what I saw, that is discrimination. I hope not to ever see that again in these chambers, because I will call it out again. And And if I happen to missee something, please correct me. Just be aware that I represent any and every single class, the voiceless and those who have a voice. So I expect equanimity in this, we're gonna call it courtroom, even though we would have cops saying, yes, police officers, you're doing your job with the homeless. I'm sorry, but they are also taxpayers. And please make sure that you are cognizant of what happens and what I'm seeing, as all the other residents are also seeing. And if that was caught on video and caught on camera, someone else might see the same thing, and perhaps that's the wrong perspective. So please make sure that you have equanimity, whether you're a white female and you're being loud. She also needs to be stopped. I had it asked on 2 occasions indirectly, and it was not here. I did see Captain motion his behavior and said, please stop to that regard. But I don't know if anybody else, I did catch it, so I appreciate that part. But again, please, I'm watching, and I'm a fervent believer in all of us requiring that same protection. And lastly, thank you, for the 2 incoming individuals. I hope to work together. You may see some scuffle up here, but I still appreciate Gloria regardless. I still appreciate Mr. Cox regardless. I do have a respect. It looks like I don't, but believe me, I still respect her. She's our mayor.
Your time is
She's
up.
an incoming mayor, so I appreciate the fact that she also, she can stand up and challenge individuals. So thank you so much for that.
And council, if I could just address something.
Yes, please.
When you asked me, Councilwoman Gomez, if you missaw something or to address it.
Please.
As far as this individual, when he first came into this chambers today and put in a speaker's card, there was some concern. Staff brought it to our attention with what he put on that speaker's card. I won't get into it for his privacy out of respect for that.
I know what it is, yeah.
However, we went to address and speak with him to check on his welfare, make sure he's okay. Everybody has a right to come in here and speak, but also our job is to also make sure this is a safe meeting. With regard to that, when it comes to now race, he's sitting right in front of me. He was mumbling about if somebody else gets up, he's gonna kick their, so he started talking about violence. My deputy didn't go and immediately remove him, he just wanted to calm him down, being familiar with the fact that what he put on his card. We don't want something negative to happen here. Right. So I wanted to address the fact that when it comes to race, and I understand your perception of that, but he sat right in front of me, and we're not going to let a violent act happen in this courtroom, as you called it. So that's why my deputy came and addressed him, only to calm him down. If he was coming up here to remove him, he would have immediately removed him. He wanted to calm him down, which was successful, and he was able to speak. So that's why I wanted to address that when it comes to race. Because in my opinion on that, race had nothing to do with it. It had to do for the propensity for violence.
And I appreciate your concerns and, for that clarity. Mrs. Martin Lowe actually has an extensive record of harassment. And I put that record out myself as well. So that's why I compared it, Had I not known about her record,
Maybe
I
Mr.
would
Jones.
have fine, but she has a very ugly record.
To the December 10th.
This meeting is adjourned to December 10, 2018. Thank you very much.